Welcome to Your Mortgage Matters, brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans, your weekly look into what's new in the mortgage business and how it impacts you. And now your host, Mac Cregger.
Welcome back to Your Mortgage Matters podcast here at Angel Oak Home Loans. I'm Mac Cregger, Senior Vice President of Sales for Angel Oak Home Loans. And I have two special guests with me today, Holly St. Germain and Amanda Callaghan. Holly is in Ventura County, California, and she's been in the business over 20 years and has helped hundreds and hundreds of families move into their homes throughout California and the western part of the United States. And Amanda Callaghan is in Wilmington, North Carolina. And she is someone who's helped over 1,000 families move into their homes in the last 12 years of her career. So with these two business professionals and mortgage experts in front of us, we're excited to have a roundtable discussion today for Your Mortgage Matters podcast, representing both the California and North Carolina markets. So let's jump in with Holly first. We talk a lot about Angel Oak being an asset management company, a company that has a fund. How does Angel Oak's financial structure affect you in the streets doing home loans?
It's been a huge asset for me, and especially in the California market, because Angel Oak is known for being in the non-QM space, and that helps me open doors to get into real estate offices with financial planners, and knowing that we have the investors that believe in Angel Oak and the performance of our loans just is top notch and just makes us a stronger company and the ability to be able to help more borrowers.
Holly, we talk a lot about non-QM loans here on Your Mortgage Matters podcast. What is the demand in California right now for non-QM loans, and who is it that's applying for these loans?
It's definitely your target market is our self-employed borrowers that typically don't, they have their tax returns, but there's a lot of write-offs with their tax returns. I'd say the percentage of self-employed borrowers, I think there's a stat that I'm aware of in California is over 25% are self-employed. And nationwide, I think it's 36%. So there's a huge opportunity for us to be able to prospect for those specific clients and help realtors to do that as well to grow their business.
25% is a large number of self-employed buyers in any market, especially in Ventura County. Having the option of non-QM loans as a product offering is definitely a game changer. Holly, tell us a little bit about your time in the industry, how you got in the mortgage industry to become a mortgage professional.
I started out on the banking side, and I worked for a large company for 10 years and happened to come across as cold calling. I called one of the managers of the mortgage company, and he's like, no one's ever called me, because I was listening for his business, and he brought me into the mortgage side of that company to help just do all of their home equity lines and loans. And then I grew into new construction and then became a loan officer myself and have originated, and then went over to another company with correspondent lending, and I ran their sales transition team to help. When new hires were brought in, I transitioned them over throughout the country, and I did that for 10 and a half years. And then came over, to Angel Oak, and here I am helping with the non-QM portfolio side. So it's been a very fun and interesting ride over the past 20 years.
I bet there's very few mortgage professionals that have been in this market for over 20 years. And I think that speaks a lot about your ability to help a diverse number of clients. Amanda in Wilmington, North Carolina, tell us a little bit about how you got to Angel Oak. I know you've been in the business over 12 years and have helped over 1,000 families get into their home. Tell us how you got to Angel Oak.
So I actually have a very similar to Holly's story. So I had actually started in the banking side as well, and I was quite young at the time, and I was having fun and going through college. Well, at that time, I really liked doing mortgages. And so I think I was closing more mortgages as an individual than any branch in the Carolinas. And so, similar to Holly, one of our commercial division members had taken everybody else with my same title out for lunch one day, and he didn't take me. And I had I was a little offended until he called me and said, I'd like to sit down with you one-on-one to have some career discussions.
Amanda, tell us about what you're seeing right now in the Wilmington real estate market. I was just at your Angel Oak office in Wilmington last month, saw that huge, happy group, but I also know we're in a challenging market. So what's going on in the Wilmington real estate market, and how's Angel Oak positioned for us to continue to grow?
Absolutely. So Wilmington, North Carolina is kind of the small but big community, if you will. We've got a lot of people that have discovered our market. And so being the small aspect of it, we do have a lot of, I don't want to call it mom and pop shops, but we have a lot of local self-employed individuals, as well as investors. So we are, we're right next to a military base. We are, a college town. We're also right next to the beach. It's a perfect location for a lot of those portfolio products that we've been set up with, like the investor cash flow, the bank statement loan. Those are loans that you don't typically see a lot of in our market. We have a lot of correspondent lenders that abide by the standard agency guidelines, and so it really, really helps us stand out, not only with our referral partners, but with the market, just, billboards that we have or mailers, or, people are even intrigued by those products when they might not necessarily fit one of them, but they want to know more about it to set them up for financial success maybe down the road. So it's definitely a huge help.
Let me ask you a tough question. As we have real estate professionals listening right now, and we've seen a dip of 40-45% in most markets. Just this summer, we saw 20% of all sales contracts fall through. Holly, tell us about how you are working with real estate professionals to help write contracts and help guide in a time like this.
Absolutely. So I think it goes back to, building those strong relationships with the real estate partners, and having them ask certain questions, especially when they first meet with a client and they ask them what they do for a living. And if they are self-employed, most of those borrowers well, I can't qualify. So, I either am going to have to go hard money, or I'm not going to be able to purchase a loan because I do X, Y, and Z with my finances and filing my tax returns. So just letting them know that their borrowers and their clients have an opportunity to speak with myself to be able to provide them more options on qualifying with the type of business that they have or with the assets that they have, that gives them more opportunity to say yes versus no. And also just allowing them to maybe prospect in different areas. They have their book of business of past clients, but maybe if they meet with other individuals in the professional arena with their financial planners and financial advisors and their CPAs and accountants and divorce attorneys, I think just having a conversation that there is an avenue for borrowers that don't think they qualify to purchase or even refinance in this market.
Absolutely. Thank you, Holly. Those are great options for real estate professionals. Amanda, tell us how you're protecting your referral sources right now. Whenever there seems to be deals, it's intense, they're pressure-packed. What are you doing to help?
Always. So I've actually been really blessed. The large portion of my business comes from my referral partners. And so for me in the very beginning, especially because I wasn't originally from here, I had to really, really narrow down what makes me different from everybody else. Why would you want to work with me versus working with, 20 other lenders that might be within a mile of us, right? And those that have been here for a lot longer than I had. And so I really had to narrow that down. And what that looks like is when I'm doing a transaction, of course, it's all about earning trust. My job is to, once that's within my court and once, that agent hands it off to me, they know for a fact they're not going to have to worry about anything. So if it's with me, they know exactly where it's going to be. They know what's updated throughout the process. And they know that at the end of the day, I'm not going to consume their time with issues or stress when that file is in my hands. So the other thing is, as far as my referral partners are concerned, I have become very good friends with all of them. And what I mean by that is It's like a mastermind group. So once I am working with an agent, it's a partnership. So that partnership will look like every 12 or every 3 months, that referral partner of mine and I are sitting down and we're talking about ways that we can both grow our business and whatever that looks like. And so we actually just had this conversation recently because we do know that our referral partners are, I don't want to say they're going through the same thing we are. There's always a funky market time and we're in one of those. And so a way for us to basically reconnect those and get them pre-approved from the start. So what that looks like is me prospecting, right? So me going to these large employed companies and saying, this is who we are, get pre-approved and whatever else, ask the questions. And when we can bring those clients in, we can link them up with one of the top tier real estate agents that we know how they operate. We know how they, that they're going to take care of our clients. So if we can start doing those things and think outside of the box, we can really, really help our referral partners through this time too.
Fantastic. We've spent a lot of time talking about non-QM loans on your Mortgage Matters podcast, which is a fantastic option for qualified self-employed buyers and investors, and even people that have some challenge credit situations to rebuild. But I'd like to talk about the traditional mortgage market right now. Holly, what are you seeing as far as sales prices? I know they're still increasing. We've seen a little bit of slowdown in listings. What are some takeaways that we can learn about your real estate market in Ventura County?
We're actually we're having a little bit more inventory, so there's an uptick in that, which is a nice sign. The bidding wars aren't so bad. There's still competition. There are some price reductions that are happening, and sellers are providing seller contribution towards closing costs for borrowers. So it's definitely kind of flipped. And I'd say in the past 3 months, especially in our area, that gives buyers the opportunity and then, get off the fence and get back into the market, because it's always a good time to buy. You know what? You marry the house and you date the rate, and that's what we want to highlight.
Can you say that again? Tell us what you meant by marry the house, date the rate.
Because if you love the house, you're going to, fall in love with it, and you're going to live in that house, just say it's your forever home, but the rate can change. You can refinance at a later time. So take advantage and buy the house if you have that opportunity, if it's there, before you miss out on it just because you're focused on an interest rate, because that is a variable and that can change.
That's great insight, Holly, especially in this unique rate environment where we see the 10-year affecting mortgage rates up and down. It feels like on a daily basis. So insightful information there, Holly. Thank you. So you find the right house in today's market, but you realize rates have gone up so much, Amanda. How are you talking to clients who come to you and say, wow, rates are a point and a half higher than I thought they would be? What advice do you have to give them moving forward with rates going up?
Well, to be 100% honest with you, and I have a very brash way of kind of explaining this, is we were spoiled for a very long period of time, right? And so before, the unfortunateness of the pandemic, and all of those things that had happened, the rates went to the floor. Well, before that, as of right now, they're very, very close to where they were prior to our spoiled rotten times for the last however long. And so, usually that's my delivery is we were spoiled for a very long time, right? And now the market is just, it's cooling off a little bit, which it feels good and it's nice. But historically speaking, the rates where they are right now are still incredibly low. And if there is that time where, down the line that rates do reduce, my clients don't have to call me because I will be calling all of them. So, usually that's the conversation I have is we've been spoiled rotten for a very long period of time. And now it's correcting itself.
That's fantastic. Holly, if you could give our listeners and future home applicants any advice, as we've seen so many contracts fall through recently, what would your advice be in this buying season?
It's just stay focused, stay positive. Things are definitely changing in a more positive way, and just make sure there's an opportunity. If you're interested and want to get pre-approved, start the application process, because between myself and your agent, then we're here for you and we're going to guide you in the right way. And it may not be today, but maybe down the line, we'll have everything ready and set up for that potential purchase or refinance down the road.
Excellent insight. Just a couple more questions as we close out here on Your Mortgage Matters podcast at Angel Oak Home Loans. I'm with Holly St. Germain from Ventura County, California, and Amanda Callaghan from Wilmington, North Carolina. So we're representing both coasts of the mortgage market, and it's a phenomenal insight from two professionals. Amanda, let me put you on the hot seat real quick. What is your most memorable closing that you've had in your career, or something that's really had an impact on you?
Actually, the most memorable as of recently, we'll say the last 7 months or so, was a rescue loan. And so I had a client that reached out to me, and unfortunately their current lender did not calculate income correctly, and it just was not a good scenario. It was unfortunately one of those things where they were getting ready to lose a lot of money as far as their deposit was concerned. Angel Oak used one of our portfolio products. They called me. I made sure everything was buttoned up, and we closed it in record timing. And we closed it during that holiday period where it gets a little rough when everyone's out on vacation or out for the holidays. And it was just a really smooth transaction. The client was entirely grateful to us for being able to step in and help. And I think that was probably one of my most memorable as of recently.
Wow, that's an impactful story, Amanda. Holly, can you tell us about a memorable closing that you've had recently, or something that's really had an impact on you as you help families buy a home?
Absolutely. So I had a referral partner send me a client, and she was not employed. She had quite a bit of money sitting in her investment accounts. This was kind of during when things were still very difficult. There was bidding wars. Borrower was told that she couldn't qualify. I took a look at all of her asset statements, was able to turn those funds into income without liquidating. She was able to purchase the home and move forward and be close to her son and future daughter-in-law.
This has been an excellent podcast with two mortgage professionals, Holly St. Germain from Ventura County, California, and also Amanda Callaghan from Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm Mac Cregger, Senior Vice President of Sales, Angel Oak Home Loans. I know you've enjoyed the content of this podcast as it's been so relevant to today's current real estate market and mortgage market. Please go to angeloakhomeloans.com. That's angeloakhomeloans.com. There's a drop down for each individual state, so you can find a mortgage professional just like Holly and Amanda in your market to be able to discuss your mortgage options as you look for real estate for you and your family. Hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon on the next podcast.
Thank you for listening to Your Mortgage Matters podcast, brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans, where achieving your unique personal or business goals for financial success matters to us. It's all about you. Help us educate others. Please pick up your mobile device and hit the like and share button now. Angel Oak Home Loans, LLC, NMLS 685842, Equal Housing Lender.